This episode of the Stroke of Genius podcast is dedicated to Tricia Benn's grandmother, Maisie Mabel Lane, 1924 to 1983.
We're going to talk about a subject today with Trish that I call the ripple effect of stroke.
The Stroke of Genius podcast, hosted by brain aneurysm and stroke survivor Aaron Avila, sharing the experiences of survivors and CEOs. This is your destination for inspiration.
Welcome to the Stroke of Genius podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Avila. I have got an amazing guest with me today, Tricia Benn.
Tricia Benn is the Chief Community Officer at the C-Suite Network and General Manager of the Hero Club, a group of CEOs, founders, and investors who commit to a life balance of hard work while giving back to the communities which they serve. Her responsibilities include leading teams across the organization, bringing in new partnerships, and building new business models to monetize the growth and opportunity within these powerful communities. Previously, Ben served as the Global Chief Marketing and Strategy Officer and U.S. Managing Director with MDC Partners. Ben is an outcome-driven, solutions-driven executive leader with proven success in developing new businesses, leading through extensive enterprise-level changes, and building motivated, engaged, and profitable teams.
How you doing, Trish?
I'm great, Aaron, and I'm thrilled to be here with you today.
It is such an honor to have you here. I mean, it is amazing. Community as a whole focus on the stroke survivors themselves, but they forget to focus that there is a whole other dynamic of stroke, and that's called the ripple of stroke, effect of stroke. So the first half, we'll be talking about that with you, Trish. Me, we'll talk a little bit about C-Suite and a little about business after. But tell me your experience. How does stroke impact your life?
Stroke had a major impact on my life. My grandmother, who was absolutely my best friend as a child, she passed when I was 12 years old, but I was with her visiting when she had her stroke. So in the middle of the night, she was taken away in to the hospital. It was very scary. You know, the ambulance arrived and I was just a child. I didn't know what was happening. But I remember very distinctly that evening and her being taken away and being really scared. And then she had a massive stroke. And in those days, so that would have been about 45 years ago or so, maybe a little less. And what happened was they didn't have the intelligence in terms of rehabilitation. So she was completely immobilized on the left-hand side of her body. And life changed considerably. Her partner at that time certainly took care of her. And then he passed and she came and lived with us. So I was very fortunate to live with my grandmother for a number of years before she passed. And she had a massive influence on my life. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think of her in so many different ways, Aaron. And having cared for her and not had the intelligence of an adult to understand what she'd gone through, what she'd accomplished in her life, what it meant to be where she was in terms of her health condition and being a woman, frankly, at that time. It's something I still am processing and learning from to this day.
You know, it's amazing that in the stroke community, and I said earlier on the intro, but there is a focus on the stroke survivor, not what, like I called earlier, the ripple effect of stroke. Meaning you, my wife, my son, you know, whoever's around, family, friends, all types of stroke survivors in my book. But judging from the way you passed, you know, you talk about your grandmother, she knew you loved her. I'm guessing, but it's a you know, Trish, that someone in the U.S. stroke is so common. Someone in stroke has a stroke every 40 seconds in the U.S.
Every 40 seconds. It's incredible. Yeah. When you started sharing, Aaron, with us in C-suite, that prevalence of strokes, it's truly incredible. And it's so little spoken of, I think so little understood. And I'm just so thrilled to be part of this conversation, to see your success and your message, and honestly, your incredible inspiration, Aaron. You are creating a voice and a conversation that's so critical for all of us to have, and to be able to support our loved ones, and also make sure that we're doing the things that we can to take care of our health. Because as business leaders, it starts with being able to be healthy as long and as much as we possibly can, to be able to deliver to our communities. So it's just been so wonderful, Aaron. And I think from the very first time you spoke in C-suite, I fell in love with you, and I was so ecstatic to have you part of the community, using your voice and sharing your story, and it's just more and more wonderful, as the days pass, right? It's been quite some time now, and I'm so ecstatic to be along this journey with you.
Well, you guys in the C-Suite Network, the C-Suite Network as all you, Jeffy, is I really have made me feel so welcome, because in this condition, and then my heart goes out to your grandmother at the time, but you feel like you're a burden, that you really can't accomplish everything. And what you may not know, or you may know, is that Jeff had a huge impact, a foundational impact of being a stroke survivor I am today. And I can remember I would sit lay in my bed, half paralyzed like your grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to figure out how I would get my carcass in a wheelchair up the ramp, and basically blow my head off, because I didn't want to live anymore, because I felt like a burden. But then I met Jeff Hazard, which brought me to you.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing you C-suite people, say to me, I can make a difference. That for me,
Absolutely.
it was mind blowing. Yeah, it was mind blowing. So I really appreciate that, Trish.
It's, Aaron, I'm so thrilled that you took that message and you lead with that message for you too, and for all that everyone that you serve, because at the end of the day, we all have challenges, and in so many different ways. And we have loved ones that have every challenge there is under the sun. And of course, we're all experiencing what we have through the pandemic together. And the way that we create and embrace the strength that each of us brings to the table, it really is indicative of how we will see the success we want to see in terms of the communities we serve, and creating great business models that deliver on that. We in business, I know you've heard me say this many times, Aaron, we don't get points for being a martyr in business. In business, we have to create great business models so that we can see through the success and the impact that we want to have. And you live and breathe that every day. It's just absolutely incredible. And others have strengths and challenges that they're working through that we may not know or may not see. And having that space where everybody can step forward into what's unique for them and deliver on that value, I just think is so powerful and so important.
Trish, how long have you been involved with Jeff Hazlett and the C-Suite Network?
It is about 8.5 years now, something like that. I came in as the very first paying sponsor of C-Suite Network. I was a global CMO, and I needed to get in front of American executive decision makers. And so I reached out to Jeffrey. I'd met him the year before, my national association. I sat on the board, and we brought him into Keynote. And so I reached out to Jeffrey and I said, I need to get in front of American executive decision makers. Did you do that C-suite thing that you were talking about? And he just launched it. So I came on board right at the very beginning. And of course, I've been a partner in the business for years now. I run the C-suite to deliver on his vision. And so my mission is to just constantly be scaling a platform that has great leaders like you, Aaron, who are building business models to serve communities and really make a difference with the success that they see in their businesses.
What you do with business, I realize that I believe, and I truly believe this, that there's energy of life, that there's energy, there's people that connect. I connect with your energy right from the day I met you. And I'm assuming that energy you and Jeff share. And Jeff, if you're watching this, I'm sorry you weren't wearing cowboy hat like Tricia and I were wearing cowboy Texans. So sorry. But, Trish, I think it's amazing that we're going to go on in business because my life has been transformed by the C-suite network. You people, when I think you're mono people over profit. Set me back when I first heard you. I think it was you that said that. We believe in people over profit. I went, who says such a thing in business? I was not raised that way. It's amazing the energy your community has.
Yes. Well, we can say that because when you put people ahead of profit, the rest comes. And it comes not just in those good times when there's lots of money and things are easy, but like what we've just seen in the last year and a half, the most challenging times. We've never scaled faster. The connectivity of our community, as you said, Aaron, it's tremendous. And that matters. It matters for all of us. And it also emboldens great business leaders to say, wait a second, it's not saying, oh, this is business, this is what we do here, and that's somehow okay. No, it emboldens them to say, no, this business is about something that matters, that we're a values-based business and we're going to do the right thing by people and we're going to succeed and scale faster because of it. And that's what we want to do. And frankly, that's how we want to spend our life energy. We have so much time and we really need to choose, what do we want to do with our time? We love businesses. We love creating great businesses and supporting great business leaders. And we want to do that and really enjoy that time and the impact that we can have with great businesses, in all of our communities globally. And because we are global now, that's very exciting as well. So that's what we want to do. And, the fact of the matter is, those things, when people say, oh, that's just business, that means they're just not acting in good values, right? They're not acting in good integrity. And there's a fair number of us that are more than willing to call that out and, wish everyone well, but we're going to move forward and we're going to have great impacts in the communities we serve. And we're going to scale and grow faster because of it.
You're amazing, George. Honestly, I've seen you on C-suite Network now for quite some time. And you impress me every time you open shows, whether it be a Celebrates Friday or the Wednesday mixer, whatever. But we talked about your grandma. And what was your grandma's name, by the way?
Maisie Mabel Lane.
Dude, that's an old school name.
Mm-hmm. Actually, this is about how old I was when she was living with me. I put that up there for you, Aaron. That's me as a little girl who totally loved and adored her grandmother.
Did she draw that?
No, she didn't draw it. But it, when you speak of the people you love that are no longer with you, there's a time where your mind goes back to, and that is that time for me. So whenever I think to my grandmother, there's part of me that regrets very much that I didn't get to know her as an adult woman, in the conversations I would have had with her. But it does bring me back to this beautiful, innocence of childhood and a total love and adoration that couldn't have been more pure. So it's truly a huge inspiration in my life, and one that I'm very conscientious of in so many ways. Taking care of myself, I can't serve others if I'm not taking care of myself, and I'm very conscientious of that. My grandmother built her own business back in the 50s and was very successful, had her own money, but she didn't take care of her health. And so, that's something I'm very mindful to in my habits and in how I monitor, my sleeping and so on. So there's almost nothing she doesn't touch in every day.
But that is an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that. But the reason I hear your values in business, your passion, your love, and that you share in business. But I see a parallel between you and your grandmother. That love, that energy, that passion was there also. And that is why I thought we would come together and talk about a little bit about business and a little bit about your grandmother, because you've experienced something and a lot of people go through but don't talk about, which is you went through stroke in a different way. And you've taken that love, the passion, and caring love you had for your grandmother. You've carried it over to your business. And I think it shows. I appreciate that. It's pretty amazing.
Thank you, Aaron. In business, I just did a keynote that I delivered down in Texas. And one of the things that I spoke about is one of the lessons my grandmother taught me. And I'm opening my wallet because my grandmother said a woman should always have money in her purse. Everyone should, right? So I have my $20, and she would give me $20 when I was a child, which was, to me, delightful. I wasn't allowed candy. So $20 was a lot of money for candy in those days. But the lessons that you learn are tremendous, and how we keep using those lessons as we think to how we care for, how we respect, how we honor, how we deliver in terms of what we can learn and what we can share with our next generations as well, is absolutely critical. And then how we take that caring and apply it to those, in the C-suite, for example, how we apply that to be able to support others and their success. And I think whether it's in business or in life, when we take the experiences that challenge us and we pull out of that every good that we possibly can to empower and to strengthen and to create more success for others, then we really become intentional and purposeful and meaningful in terms of how we create value and make a difference in our communities. And I think that's what it's most about. And that's what I see in you, Aaron, and certainly being able to have this conversation. These are important conversations to have, and people act like somehow they don't matter, or suddenly you're just out, bad luck for you. No, you're not out, and your message is critically important, and how we deliver on the learnings, the power, the strength, the inspiration, the value. That's what we all own together to make sure that we are delivering that respect, that honor, that opportunity that otherwise would be missed.
That I'm gonna you see it back there, but it really is. You and Jeff are the hero fighters in the flash. If you were to take because I've read the book, I'll read it again, and I'm going to ask Jeff to do an interview with me on the book alone. But it is the values, the core of C-Suite Network is the hero factor.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is amazing to me, and to hear you speak on that, I just amazed. But let me do this. Let me take a little break. Let me take a commercial break. Hold on.
No, we belong together.
Okay, we're back here live with Tricia Benn. Well, not live, we're doing podcast, but Tricia Benn is here for. She's a chief community officer of the C-Suite Network, and what an honor is. We're talking about her grandmother. Which, how was your grandmother when she experienced a stroke?
She would have been about 50, actually my age. So, and she passed away when she was only 58 years old.
Oh, that's young.
Very young, very young.
And she was half paralyzed, like me, on the left side.
Yes.
Paralyzed, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I get that duration of time where she had a stroke and then half paralyzed and lived out the rest of her life. That was very hard, I know, because I do it. It's not an easy time to live out that life, half paralyzed. But, I know Trish and I would like to dedicate this podcast to her. And her energy is here with us right now. I know it. And I'm getting emotional because I can feel it. But Tricia, do I understand? Do you have another job that you do besides the C-Suite Network?
No, this is so I'm a partner in the business and leading and building the business across the entire platform. So we have our networking and education content. We have our media and distribution. So that's C-Suite TV, C-Suite radio, our website, and our social assets. Then we have our professional services and our marketplace. So it's more than enough to keep me more than full time. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So yes, that's what I do, and that's certainly my passion in terms of delivering on Jeffrey's vision. That we would create this platform where great leaders, and you mentioned hero values, that's lead with integrity, transparency, give back to our community, share in our success. That matters, and you scale faster and more profitably when you do so. You retain those great employees that could go elsewhere for lots of different reasons or leave, as we've seen a huge, exit across North America. So there's just a tremendous values-based approach, and that's one that I am just super passionate about delivering against, and then inspired, Aaron. My days are back to back from first thing in the morning until late in the evening, and I love it. I can't help but be inspired, smile. I might get on in the morning and think, oh my goodness. And then as soon as I start speaking to the very first person I meet with, I'm so grateful and so excited about the impact that we can have together. Today alone, I'm having this conversation with you, and how powerful and important is this? I had an incredible conversation with leaders in the DEI space, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I had other conversations with business leaders who are doing exceptional things through COVID and seeing incredible results. I mean, and that's just we're only early afternoon, so it's incredible. It's exciting, and at the end of the day, it matters. And if we're going to see that value in terms of us being able to make a difference, that's couldn't possibly be more excited, and I love being on this journey with you, Aaron.
Well, I cannot express to you how grateful I am for you and Jeff for what you've done for Stroke TV Media and me. I cannot. I'm gonna start crying if I'm not careful. But what did you do before, Joe? I want to get to know you better personally. What did you do before C-Suite?
It's hard to imagine I had a life before C-Suite now, but no, I was an enterprise. I was an executive at 3 enterprise-sized organizations. I built new businesses. I integrated businesses, and advised the largest brands in the world. I actually did political polling and political, public affairs consulting for many years of my life. So I had extraordinary experience. I was actually the youngest vice president in North America at one of those enterprise-sized organizations. So my whole life was about not accepting the status quo, because as a woman 50 years old, and I looked I looked terribly young when I was, finishing my master's and looking for a real job. I was confused with, being the same age as my 16-year-old sister, which was a little bit of a blow, Aaron. But so I really couldn't accept the status quo. I had to make a difference and drive real outcomes, real results, and take on projects that maybe others might think were a little unnerving. Like if they succeeded, great, but if they didn't exceed, you didn't have a job. And so it's something that I just loved. And at a $20+ billion company, if you walked into the team I created from just me to over 20, it was an over $20 million business by the time I left the organization. But you couldn't walk into our part of the building without knowing it was different from the rest. And when you take that approach that people matter, and you create a great business model where they're leading, and that's a key in terms of our structure internally in the C-suite network team, as well as the whole entire community. I expect and I see the delivery of leadership in everybody and also support. So everyone is expected to be a leader and everyone is expected to be a supporter. And that way you're always empowering people to do their best. Where they see fault or they see things that aren't working the way that they could, they end up owning how it's going to deliver, how they will see the right outcomes and see success faster. And so that's something that's just been, it was a real aha moment for me that you could take that from an internal team and extend it to a community of 350,000, and by the way, 350,000 that are the top achievers in the world, so it's not, not people who are sitting around looking for a job. These are people leading very successful businesses, but together, we're all leaders. We're all supporting great things happening and great things in our communities as we succeed in our businesses. So big aha moment, but one where you really can't go wrong when you're supporting people finding the success they want to see, and they're aligned on your mission, and the people you serve win when you do. That's it. That's the winning formula.
Yeah, I had a spiritual mentor that got me started on the strategic path. His name was Roland Goga. Lynn sent it to him in person too.
Okay.
He died of his sixth stroke death. I think he had 6 strokes. He finally, his last stroke took him out. But he taught me a man can have anything he wants in this life as long as he helps one other person what anything they want in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that is what C-Suite Network does. They put, we just said it, people over profit. They help you achieve. I mean, here we are doing the podcast. It was for Jeff and you and the people C-Suite like giving me opportunity to do podcast. I'd be sitting there not doing nothing. And it comes around, goes around.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving to me something. I want to give back to you. So I want to encourage anybody else that listens to this podcast. Look up C-Suite Network. Get all of you trust. You're on Facebook too. They can learn face.
Absolutely.
People want to get a hold of you. What is the best way people get a hold of you?
In my name on the screen right now, you'll see Tricia at csuitenetwork.com. So Tricia at csuitenetwork.com, and it's Tricia. That would be wonderful. I am on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. So would love to hear from anyone who is really interested in how they scale their businesses. And we serve executives, owners, influencers, and investors. So that is our audience that we want to be able to help get to that next level. And at the end of the day, know that they're working with people who genuinely care about how they're excelling. And that's everything on the professional side of our lives and the personal side of our lives. Great leadership is not a one-faceted piece. And anyone who's being authentic about what great leadership is and what they're working through will absolutely have that at the forefront as well.
It's amazing. I want to encourage everybody out there, if you're in business, look up C-Suite Network and do not think it's your typical networking community, because I don't know if church knows it, but I ran my own company for 12 years, a smaller company. My wife and I ran, but I went to many mixers and network meetings, and they were just everybody trying. They were like piranhas, all feeding on each other. It was terrible. But if you want substance, if you want meaning, and you want positive energy in business, I tell you, CC Network is the best I've ever seen out there. And that's an honest from our testimony. And Trish, you are a main player in that too. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Aaron. I don't know if you remember this. I'm curious whether you do, but I remember the very first time you came to a C-Suite Network event and spoke. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I was pretty insecure back then. I was pretty insecure about me.
Did you remember that? And I didn't know anything about you. I didn't know anything about your story. And the very first thing you did was you said, "I'm so sorry. I probably shouldn't be speaking."
Yeah.
And it is just such a beautiful thing to see, like right away I said, "I'm so grateful you did. And it's so important to hear your voice. And and thank you, please don't stop, keep going," and as I've gotten to know you and see your growth and your strength and how you're scaling what you're doing and the impact that you're having, that's what it's all about. And I think as we extend that community, as we let people know, listen, your voice is worth hearing, greed will continue, right? Greed will continue. It doesn't need to be fed and nourished and fueled. That is what it is. But for those of us that really do want to have an impact with what we're doing, that want to see success, that want to see people growing and building and learning and having great lives while they're doing it, it's just opening up that door and being authentic and being real and creating the opportunity. And look what happens.
That is what makes you guys so different than all the networking people out there. Because there's thousands of other networking people, but I've never seen a community like you guys put together. Your C-Suite Network is like none other, in my opinion. But I don't have to believe just, but we're done with the podcast. I really, really want to thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your grandma's story with us. And thank you for telling us about C-Suite. I appreciate you being here. Thank you, honey.
Thank you, Aaron.
Like what you just heard? Visit c-suiteradio.com. C-Suite Radio, turning the volume up on business.